Hey guys, it's Coach Emily at CrossFit Brigade. I'm here bringing you another edition of our lockdown series. Tonight, as promised, we're going to get into sleep strategies for building better habits. Sleep, as you know, is sort of the base of that physiological wellness pyramid, even below nutrition and fitness. So it's just really critical, particularly in the current environment, that we're staying healthy and optimizing our immunity. It's really top of mind right now. So if you aren't averaging at least 7 hours in bed at night, then you're probably shorting yourself. So just to get into some of the benefits, most of you guys are familiar, but it doesn't help to re-outline those. First, sleep activates the release of human growth hormone, which is an essential player in cellular regeneration. So really critical here. It enhances your memory function and problem-solving skills the next day. Boost your immune system. We keep talking about that, leaving you less vulnerable to illness, which is critical under quarantine in the environment that we're in. A good night's rest will help to boost your athletic performance, including speed, agility, and overall energy levels. It can leave you more resilient to daily stress and just be an overall defense in that area. And last but not least, for fat burning. If you're looking to get trimmed up for the summer, you oxidize the most fat during sleep. So if you're looking for that, then make sleep a priority. Can't emphasize that enough. Studies show that when you undersleep, you're walking around in a pre-diabetic state. So you've got increased cortisol levels, a stress hormone, due to the lack of sleep. This can put you at higher risk for injury. Reduces your ability to fight infection. Just makes you overall, not feel sharp. And so the bottom line, if you want to train, you definitely need to sleep. So really making that a priority and right now is critical. I did want to touch on just the position that we sleep in, because sleep should be for recovery. But if we're sleeping on our tummies, it can really actually contribute to the neck, shoulder, elbow, hip. Unfortunately, this is very close to home to me. I really struggle to try to sleep on my back. And I do notice how uncomfortable some of those nagging areas can be due to sleeping on my belly. So definitely, if you're sleeping in a position other than on your back, then you might want to make it also a priority to try to work towards getting to sleep on your back and staying that way. So next up, we're going to talk about optimizing the sleep environment. So I'm going to look at this in the context of your five senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and feel. And we'll start out with the room, the space that you're in. We sleep best at bringing those temperatures down a little bit cooler. So experts recommend even as low as 65 degrees. So there's a couple ways to get there. Obviously, you can adjust your thermostat. Some mattresses can be really, really hot, and we actually bought one a couple years ago and had to add a layer called a chili pad onto that, and I instantly felt my sleep was so much deeper. And so that's an option. Also, in order to help fall asleep, our body needs to cool a few degrees. So you can consider taking a warm but not hot bath and before bed, and that can kind of help with that cooling process as well. So you can make that part of your routine. We're going to talk about here in a little bit. So in addition, the way the room feels, darkness is of course important. So we're going to get into our sight now. If you live in an area where there's a lot of ambient light, or even if you have a lot of chargers and electronics in the room, really evaluate that and take a look around and see what you can kind of turn over or maybe take to another location. Blackout shades are awesome if you live in an urban area and you need to block out some of that light, or you can just use your own personal sleep mask as well. So that's always an option. And so electronics, that brings us into electronics. So do want to kind of cover that while we're here. Computers, TVs, tablets, cell phones, all stimulate the brain. So we're looking to get unplugged at least an hour before bed. And if you, even before that, or if you are going to be on a little bit later, then you might take a look at some of the options that you have to sort of reduce the disruption of your sleep patterns, reducing eye strain for nighttime use. So a couple options. When the Apple devices offer a night shift, I'm sure you're all aware, under settings, display and brightness. And then there's also a program for computers you can download called Flux. And that would also adjust the display's color temperature according to the location and time of day. So just helping eliminate the disruptions in sleep patterns that do come from the screens. We still recommend getting off of those early if you can. Lastly, for your visual in your room, clean up the space that you're in. The neater your space can be, that can help eliminate sort of feelings of anxiousness and restlessness. So there's even bedroom feng shui Corinne was telling me about. You can even go as far as sort of how you position your bed towards the windows of the door and that sort of thing. So you can really take this even further if you like. Next, after our vision, we'll cover hearing. So if you go to bed before the rest of your family, or you live in an area where you hear outdoor activity, then white noise can help to cancel that out. So you could use a fan, an air purifier, or even a sound machine to sort of help you get better sleep even in that environment. Next, our sense of smell. In studies, the essential oil lavender has been shown to lower the volunteers' blood pressure, heart rate, and skin temperature. And so that's really exactly what you want to do when you're trying to calm down to sleep. So you could try diffusing it in a diffuser if you want to use the essential oils. You can also incorporate it into your bath time routine. If you have a master bath, that smell can circulate. It's really nice. Just smelling the lavender before bed to kind of trigger your body and mind that it's time to settle down and sort of down-regulate the system. So these are not magic pills, but they can definitely be a piece to the puzzle to get that deeper sleep. And then moving on to our sense of taste, that brings us to caffeine and alcohol. So it can be a touchy subject. As we all know, caffeine is a stimulant, helps you be more alert. So the sooner you can cut it off in the day, the better the more likely you are to have a good night's sleep. So we recommend about noon cutting off the caffeine, switch it over to decaf if you have to. Regarding alcohol, a lot of people like to use it to relax, but it can really affect the sleep cycle, how deep you go into your sleep cycle. So if that's an issue for you and you are consuming alcohol in the evenings, then you may want to cut back and see how that can affect your sleep. So just to mention further kind of supplementation, since we talked about caffeine and alcohol, I would also urge you to avoid sleep aids like Tylenol PM or Ambien, if at all possible. Taking sleep aids like that just to trick your brain to turn off isn't so much sleep as making your brain unconscious. So if we're hoping that the bedtime routines and the environment that we're going to create can really help to stimulate a good night's sleep on its own. But if you find that you're struggling, maybe there's a lot of stress or you have a lot on your mind, or you're having other issues with sleep, we have a few other options. I'm going to start with one of my favorite discoveries a couple years ago, tart red cherry juice. So this will naturally stimulate you to produce more melatonin, the sleep hormone, without taking melatonin. So you don't have to become kind of dependent on the melatonin. So it's kind of a first step, and then I have had to resort to melatonin for my toddler. So I had some in the cabinet. That is also an option. And then ZMAs are pretty popular. So zinc, magnesium, and aspartame combo. I found some magnesium at Whole Foods, just a supplement here. And you can actually combine that with calcium. And Coach Patricia taught me that. She is a physician's assistant, and that was her recommendation when we were having a troubled sleeper that we wanted to help out, and it worked really, really well. And she just used it for a couple weeks and then was able to move on from that once she started getting her sleep under control. So those are a few of those that we would recommend as far as supplementation. And just touching a little bit further on our bedtime routine. So your body loves routine. So going to bed and waking up around the same time each day is ideal. and that can be really beneficial just to developing those healthy sleep habits. Laying out your clothes the night before. You may have that personality type that or a really busy day where you need to go ahead and lay your clothes out and possibly do a brain dump. If you need to go ahead and make your list for the next day, that can be really helpful so that you're not woken up or thinking of the things that you have to do the night before that's keeping you awake at night. You have to remember to go get a prescription. Go ahead and write that down, get it out of your mind so you can just kind of let go and get some good sleep. So being in a habit of doing that can be very, very helpful. I know the nights that I don't, I'm a lot more troubled and don't sleep as well. And then we've really talked about kind of switching out the screens for looking more of a routine that might incorporate the bath ritual, getting the lavender in with the bath. You can also do some recovery things such as light tissue work or light stretching. So those are going to kind of be to kill two birds with one stone. You can kind of get your recovery in from training as well as doing a bedtime ritual that will help you fall asleep well. So those are a couple of our favorite tips, switching out the screens for sort of a book or a meditation or some type of like stretching, getting in the bath or shower. These are all some that tend to work really well. And I hope we've given you a few ideas. We did not get into napping. I was going to save that for our in-house expert, Coach Michael Brown, for another video. But I hope that you will take and utilize some of these strategies. And I can't wait to hear how it goes. So happy sleeping, guys. Thanks.